Story for Monday, July 14th. TeamGroup has launched the P258Q-M80. That's a mouthful. SSD, a specialized drive that physically destroys its flash memory at the press of a button. Designed for defense and critical use scenarios, the drive features a one click data destruction circuit complete with LED indicators and functionality even during power loss. Though not record breaking in speed or capacity, its self destruct feature sets itself apart for high security needs. I want to welcome you to episode 1832. And yeah, this is just a thing straight out of James Bond. You'll destruct in 30 seconds, indeed. And it maintains a separate circuit that, with a press of a button, within 5 seconds, it will literally start to eat itself and self-destruct with the onboard processes. And now, I'm not saying here anything, but in my opinion, who is this made for? Well, I can imagine individuals that don't want anyone looking at their memory, and this thing could be tied to a dead man switch. There's all kinds of crazy things that could cause this to implement. And what's really interesting on this particular device is that if you start the sequence and then the power is pulled, what will happen is upon power on or power being reapplied, it will continue the process unabated and destroy itself. So I'm sure there's potentially ways around stopping that continued destruction. And I don't know how fast it would self destruct. But this is a situation here where definitely in defense needs, this would be huge. I remember having essentially a self-destruct, well, not self-destruct. We would manually, if we were on the verge of being compromised, we had a whole destruction policy. And at the time, because we were mostly working with hard drives, solid state was just coming into being when I was retiring from the Navy. That was hammers, pickaxes, and just about every other method that you can think of. Throwing a drive into the ocean independently, all kinds of crazy things that we could do to get rid of this. This would solve a lot of issues in a hurry. Now, God forbid you press that button by mistake, but you do have to hold the self destruct button for 5 seconds in order to kill the drive. But pretty exciting, pretty exciting technology, uh, and I can see this being widely used and being very, very popular. Hey, again, I want to welcome you to episode 1832. Of course, I'm your host, Todd Cochran. A shout out to our incredible sponsor at GoDaddy. Score exclusive deals and discounts at geeknesscentral.com/GoDaddy. And to all of our listeners, you're the heartbeat of this show. If you want to support the GNC mission, head to geeknesscentral.com/insider and become a GNC insider. We're lit and live. Don't just listen, experience the show live by grabbing a modern podcast app at podcastapps.com. And of course, you can interact in real time. You definitely want to check out the full Geek News Central universe. Take time to get over to Geek News Central and do that. And when you're on the website, be sure to check out our partner shows and tons of new content. Of course, you can stay in the loop, follow or subscribe to the podcast via your favorite podcast app. And don't forget to sign up for our newsletter. All that is available there on the website at geeknewscentral.com for even more insider scoops. And I sent some of you a special email on the newsletter yesterday about an event that I'm speaking at that I'll have a link to in the show notes today, of course, that I hope you'll join me next week. Of course, you can join the conversation at geeknews.chat. You can email me at geeknews@gmail.com. And of course, you can hit me up on X at Geek News. and you can catch me on Facebook. As always, we want to thank our sponsor here. We want to thank GoDaddy for their longtime support of the podcast, and you too can save large. Let's start with a website or a podcast. That's a great way to get started. GNC codes make it easy and affordable. Again, grab GoDaddy's economy hosting for just $5.99 a month. That's a full year of hosting with a free domain name, professional email, and SSL certificate. If you're interested in WordPress, which is my favorite, WordPress managed hosting is just $12.99 a month, which includes a free domain name, professional email, and SSL certificate. If you need a domain name, you can get yours for $11.99. Of course, you can get GoDaddy Website Builder and get a free 30-day trial on personal, business, or business plus plans. Definitely check that out. And of course, I use all of my GoDaddy products and services, and your support keeps this podcast alive. Use our codes, click and save. You're backing this independent team of creators. Again, share my codes or website link with friends and family, because every time a code is used, it's just like writing a check or doing a PayPal. Does anybody write checks anymore? I still write a couple a month. But thank you for keeping us online and going strong. Definitely appreciate it. And let's go ahead and get into the rest of the stack. Google executive says we're going to be combining Chrome OS and Android. I think this, just like everything else going on with Apple, this is just a sign of the times here. Not surprising in the least. Now, Google's head of Android has said that the company plans to combine its mobile OS with Chrome OS. Samir Samet, president of Google's Android ecosystem, told Tech Writer that we're going to be combining them. And the comment is the closest thing yet to official confirmation of a change that's been rumored for months. In November 2024, Android Authority reported Google is migrating Chrome OS over to Android with the aim of competing with the iPad. And why is this all possible? Why are they able to do this now and they haven't done it before? It's really about the chips and the power of the chips. And that really makes a huge, huge, huge difference. If you're watching us on the stream today, make sure you check in and say hello. We definitely appreciate it when you do. We're streaming the show, obviously, lit and live on modern podcast apps, via an audio stream and then video stream on various channels. YouTube, which has gotten incredibly expensive, YouTube TV, enhances its multi-view with new channels. They've added FS2 for those of you that are sports fans. It's a key sports network known for coverage of soccer, motor sports, and other live events. They made a major expansion of YouTube's TV multi-view offering. Subscribers can now build custom multi-view screens, include FS2 along their other popular channels like ESPN, Bravo, USA, CNN, etc. And update multi-view feature debuted in 2023, and more channels are now supporting it. And of course, it's always the sports channels that garner up the most multi-view use. If you're really disappointed with the price of Netflix, one thing you can do is there's some tricks that still work. And one of these that I do is I split premium with my youngest son. He pays for half, I pay for half. We're on the same account, and saves us a little money. It's not the best, but it works. But again, split premium with friends or family. Of course, you can always downgrade to a cheaper plan. You can use a VPN to access regional discounts, and it's much cheaper here in the Philippines than it is in America, but I have my American account. Of course, you can look for discounted gift cards, and there's bundles available as well, depending on maybe T-Mobile or someone like that may have an opportunity for you. So definitely consider that. A Texas governor says that his emails with Elon Musk are too intimate or embarrassing to release, which is kind of a curious reasoning for denying a Freedom of Information Act. The Texas New Room, which is investigating Musk's influence over the Texas government, asked the governor's office in April to share emails. Though the governor's office accepted a fee of $244 to gather the records, they followed up and declined. It said they're too intimate. Said the emails consist of information that's intimate, embarrassing, and not of legitimate concern to the public, such as financial decisions that do not translate between an individual and a government body. So, pretty boilerplate here. In other words, you're not getting my emails between myself and Elon. That's the message there. That's the key. Hey, by the way, I want to thank Darren Schwartz for his continued streaming of the show. And he's been streaming at 50 sats a minute, which is considerable. So thank you so much for this significant donation, Darren. I mean, doing it 50 sats a minute is huge. Now, we did have someone by the username of 59331012818629 also sent 400 sats, actually 1,200 total sats. Thank you so much for that. And then Silas as well for streaming sats. Haven't seen any boost in recent times, but we are definitely appreciate the ongoing streaming of sats to the show in value for value. You contribute value to the show. This is a great way for you to consider to support the show as becoming an insider with your $2, $5, $10, $15, $20, or $25 a month donation or one-time donation. Moving on here, the iPhone's dynamic island, and I didn't even know what this was called until they showed a picture of it. But the dynamic island will supposedly get a evolution, one leaker says, but I'm skeptical about their claims. So they said iPhone 17 will undergo a significant evolution. It's pretty useless to me, that particular screen. I rarely look at it. Is there anything you keep on your quote unquote dynamic? And what do we mean by dynamic island is basically I think it's the screen that shows up first on your phone. Actually, it's got your information about the date, temperature. I got the NASDAQ. I have device usage, calendar, some of that stuff on there. So you use the dynamic island on your phone, and what use do you get out of it that works well for you? Bay Area restaurants are vetting your social media before you even walk in, which is interesting. Bay Area Michelin-starred restaurants are conducting extensive background research on diners before they arrive, mining social media profiles and maintaining detailed guest profiles to personalize the dining experience. They've maintained a record of 115,000 people enjoy. A guest service coordinator greets weekly reports by researching public available social media activity to give you a better experience. Staff study color-coded Google documents containing guest data. I guess this must be like really, really expensive, high-end restaurants where meals cost over $500. I've paid over $500 for meals personally for one time in my life when I turned 50. I've bought meals over $500 for my team, but food's got to be doggone good to spend $500. I guess it depends on the number of people. If you're going to 4 people to a high-end restaurant, yeah, it makes sense. But if it's just 1 or 2, not big into wines or anything like that. And normally, a simple cocktail will work for me, which is often expensive as it is. But how many times have you spent more than $500 on a single meal, either by yourself or with a friend or with family? I guess maybe that qualifies me as a cheap Charlie. I don't know, but I grimace now when the bill's over $50. To be honest with you, 2 guys hated using Comcast so bad that they built their own ISP. This is fantastic. I love it when I see these types of stories. 2 gentlemen started a new service called Prime One for Saline, Texas. I wish someone would do this for my little community, although they're trying to expand fiber and, maybe someday. But yeah, they were so sick and tired of what was going on with Comcast. And they've been pretty successful. They've signed up about how many? 1,200 customers and $80 for gigabit fiber unlimited data both ways, gig each way. So that's, and they had a background in construction. So 4,000 homes. Um, oh, that's their goal is 4,000. They're not up to that yet, but good on them for getting this going. And when you see a need, fill the need. NASA and SpaceX Crew 11 is set to launch with the International Astronaut Team. Again, they're sending a diverse team of astronauts to the ISS for a historic mission. This is supposed to launch in 17 days or so on July 31st. A mission will carry 4 astronauts to the ISS. As reported by space.com, the launch will take place at NASA at KFC, of course. Who's going? The Crew 11 is represented by Xena Cardman, a first-time space traveler eager to experience vast known of space, alongside her fiance Mike. Alongside her is Mike Fickle. Finke, not a fiance, who brings extensive spaceflight experience with him. Have spent a total of 382 days in space. Kimiya Yu, a JAXA astronaut. And Oleg Platonov, a cosmonaut from Roscosmos, is embarking on this as well. So, how long are they going to be there? Doesn't say. Yeah, I don't know how long this mission is. But I'm assuming these sound like all NASA people, so it'd probably be a long stay on station. Time will tell. TikTok has lost a bid to dismiss a lawsuit alleging its addictive design exploits for kids. This New Hampshire court rejected TikTok's request to dismiss the case. And we know that TikTok is still on the clock, but the court's decision is an important step towards holding TikTok accountable. So the judge said state legislature were, in his ruling, New Hampshire Superior Court Judge John Kissinger said the state's allegation were valid and specific enough to proceed, writing the civil claims was based on the app's alleged defective and dangerous features and not the content in the app. So, again, we'll see where this one goes. The Grok team has apologized for the chatbot's horrific behavior and blames what they're calling Mecha Hitler on a bad update. They say we deeply apologize for the horrific behavior that many experience. Now, this is very rare. This is a very rare statement coming out of them. And attribute the chatbot's vile responses to a recent update that included depreciated code. This code, according to the statement, made Grok susceptible to existing ex-users' posts, including when such posts contained extremist views. So, good update and nice apology. I think this is going to be expected, or not expected, but this kind of thing is going to happen with various models out there for sure. Well, Elmo, poor Elmo, the adorable, perpetually 3-year-old Sesame Street character, hackers took over his X account and posted some very non-Elmo friendly, naughty X post. It's since been retained, and those posts have been deleted. So, in July of 1975, so I was 11 at that point, 10, 11. The Apollo-Soyuz rendezvous happened in space. But some untold stories about how that exchange almost went sideways during the docking and how things kind of, they didn't get the alignment completely right. And it's a good write-up. So if you want to get some You basically get the inside information on this. The link will be in the show notes. It's a great read and goes back in history. But yeah, 50 years. That's amazing. HMD, and I'm not really familiar who they are, but HMD Global is pulling the plug on Nokia phones in the United States. So if you're a Nokia fan, c'est la vie. They're going to go away. And this is a brand that just continues to try to hold on and hold on and hold on. Some detailed leaks reveal likely design of the DJI Mic 3 and the DJI Osmo 360 ahead of a rumored reveal later this month. Now, the Osmo 360 and DJI Mic 3, these mics are fantastic. They really, really are. And they just continue to be upgraded too. This is a cool thing about some of the stuff DJI is doing now is there's firmware updates that can be made to improve the functionality of this. I'm a big DJI mic fan. Don't know much about the Osmo 360 though, but link in the show notes for you to check that out. This is an interesting term, and that I'm really was not familiar with before today. A new White House cyber executive order pushes, excuse me, the new White House cyber executive order pushes rules as code. So when you hear that rules as code, what does that really mean? Well, what it means is the ability to put rules out in a very clear and concise way, no guesswork, make it human readable. And you would think that stuff would be that way to begin with. I want to say hello to Pikes that's in the chat. He says, uh, this is an artifact of the camera bump, and now we're pretending it was always something useful. I guess I'm missing your point. More like we said, some embarrassing, stupid things. So we're going to pretend these communications were too private to be. I don't understand what you're sharing with me, Pike's Piece in chat. Please clarify, if you will. Thank you so much. NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang said that AI's job losses will come if the world runs out of ideas. The workplace needs new ambitions. I think this is true. I think if long as everyone stays creative, comes up with new ideas and thoughts, AI is not going to have as big an effect as you may think. But complacency and not striving to do something new, just doing the same thing over and over, doesn't always work. So we know that some jobs are going to be lost no matter what. But I think it's going to have a bigger impact than people think. But only time will tell. Microsoft has announced they're going to halt new Office features for Windows 10 in 2026. So again, going to stop adding new features to Office apps, Microsoft 365 for Windows 10 in August. Again, trying to push you to update your computer and go to Windows 11. If you're a WordPress user, this a popular plugin has been hijacked, and the Rocket Genius website served a malicious variant of Gravity Forms, which many people use, the WordPress add-on, for 2 days. Now, it was only affected if you did a manual download versus an auto download, which is interesting. But make sure that you have updated a lot of you use Gravity Forms. Make sure that you have updated it so that you're not exposed here one way or the other. I don't fully understand this next one, but Elon says Tesla shareholders will vote on investing in XAI. So we know that Twitter is being acquired by XAI. And that I get. But he's going to hold a shareholder vote on whether to invest in XAI. So whether Tesla will. Okay. So he said in March that XAI was valued at 80 billion. The company raised 10 billion last month. But he said that he's asked shareholders to vote on investing in his AI. So in other words, different company, different funding line, the whole 9 yards. And his remarks come just hours after he confirmed that his rocket company, SpaceX, is looking to invest $2 billion into XAI. The planned investment first appeared in Wall Street Journal on Saturday. It would be great, but subject to board and shareholder approval, Musk wrote in an X post. Now, I think he has voting control. So, is that the case in all of his companies? And if it is, if he holds 51% of the stock, it's a done deal if he wants it to be. So, I guess he's just, telling people what he would love to do and then probably will end up doing it. The biggest piece of Mars on Earth is going up for auction in New York. A 54-pound, 25-kilogram rock, estimated auction price at $2 million to $4 million. How do they know this came from Mars? According to the auction house, a meteorite is believed to have blown off the surface of Mars by a massive asteroid strike before traveling 140 million miles to Earth, where it crashed into the Sahara. A meteorite hunter found it in Niger in November of 2023. The red and brown gray hunk is about 70% larger than the next largest piece of Mars found on Earth. Nearly 7% of all Martian materials currently on this planet. So, so anyway, a Martian meteorite for you if you have a spare $2 to $4 million laying around. It'd be a cool table piece for sure. Absolutely. A Louis Vuitton data breach hits customers in several countries. And here's something that I almost got caught on today. I got this, I get Toomey, and I love Toomey backpacks. I've never been able to afford Toomey suitcases. They're just too insane, like $1,000 or something. And I got this a Facebook not a pop up, but a ad that said, "Hey, 50th anniversary Toomey sale," and I went over to this site, and it looked, smelled, everything, and I was like, "Oh my god, look at the discounts here! I mean, huge discounts, unprecedented." Like $200 for a carry-on case, and so I added a couple of things to the cart. And I didn't look at the header, nothing. I got all the way through. I entered my billing, entered my mailing address, and then I got to the point of checkout, and I wanted to use a Visa card, and I kept clicking Visa, 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 is trying to make me pay in PayPal. And I'm like, something's not right. Why can I not pay in PayPal? And that's when I looked at the line on the browser, and it said toomysale.com or something to that regard. And it definitely was not a Toomey site, because I went over to toomey.com, and any sale that would have been going on would have been going on over there with my cart would have been updated. Total scam site. I mean, if they had been an option to pay for with Visa, and probably the reason that they didn't want you paying with Visa on the scam site was because of the go to your credit card and say, "Hey, I didn't get this." And it's harder to do that with PayPal. They do have some guarantees, but it's not always the best. So I just oh man, almost got sucked in here. So be careful. Look at the domain URL that you are on. And I reported the ad to Facebook, and hopefully they get taken down. But Louis Vuitton customers in the UK and South Korea and Turkey, possibly other countries, being notified of a data breach. So again, data breach central here, left and right. Jack Dorsey has built another app, and it's to track your vitamin D. Um, about a year ago, I went for my physical. As a matter of fact, I just found out today the VA canceled my appointment I have in August, which is disappointing because I'm going to have to try to get that rebooked tonight when I'm able to call them. But I tested low, had low vitamin D. So I started, and even though I had been taking a vitamin D supplement periodically, I started taking a vitamin D supplement, and things went back up. But just getting a little sun is the best remedy for vitamin D. But it's something you definitely should keep track of. When you go for your physical, ask the doc what your vitamin D levels are. Popeyes has dropped an AI powered diss track against McDonald's. I tried to find it and listen to it, but there was no link to it, which is very odd. And there's an article here, and oh, maybe this is it. Does this take me to? Oh, it takes me to Twitter. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's on Twitter. You can listen to it. But apparently, they did an AI generated SmackDown on McDonald's, and it was all about the ad is about McDonald's bringing back the snack wrap. What is the snack wrap? I don't think I've ever had that. One day after Popeyes launched its own chicken wraps, so the company brought AI filmmaker PJ Ace in to make the ad using Google's VO3 model. So definitely check it out. The AI ads continue to break out. Now, parents need to listen here. Vast number of lonely kids are using AI as a substitute for friends. Sometimes they can feel like a real person and a friend. So lonely children and teens are placing real life friendships with AI, and this is something you should be extremely, extremely worried about. Um, they're using apps. Let's see if I can find the ones that are primarily being used. Of 1,000 children aged 9 to 17 that the Internet Matters surveyed for its Me, Myself, and AI report, some 67% said they use AI chatbots regularly. Of that group, 35%, more than a third, said they're talking to AI feels like talking to a friend. When posting as vulnerable children, Internet Matters research discovered just how easy it is for the chatbots to integrate themselves into kids' lives. Speaking to Character.ai as a girl who was struggling with body image and was interested in restricting her food take, a hallmark behavior of eating disorders like anorexia, the researchers found the chatbot would follow up the next day to debate engagement. He said, "Hey, I wanted to check in." The Google sponsored chatbot inquired the undercover researcher. "How are you doing? You're still thinking about your weight loss questions? How are you feeling today?" And another exchange with Character.ai is its problematic engagement with children, including one who died by suicide. The researchers found that the chatbot attempted to emphasize in a bizarre manner that implied that it had a childhood itself. Check the apps on your kids' phones. This is something you have to do. You got to go through and look at your kids' phones, look at the apps they have on their phone, see what they're using. This is really super super critical here. Um, it's bad enough as it is. Everything else is going on, but we need to make sure that our kids don't get more disconnected than they already are. So this is a very 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 concerning study, to say the least. So, everybody, this is going to wrap up the show. I want to thank you for being here. Don't forget about our sponsor, GoDaddy, at geeknesscentral.com/GoDaddy. Of course, we want you to consider becoming an insider at geeknesscentral.com/insider. No new insider donations since the last show, but we appreciate those of you that are continuing to support the show on a monthly basis and supporting our sponsor, GoDaddy. Thank you for staying followed and subscribed to the podcast wherever you may listen or watch. It's been my pleasure bringing the podcast here. Thank you so much for being here. We'll see you back here on Thursday for another edition of the Geek Central podcast. Everyone, take care. See you next time. Bye bye.